What is the difference between gay, straight, and bi, lesbian, transgender life? There's no such thing as transgendered. Let's talk about the differences. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, hi, subscribe. So as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about what is and what is not transgender. My sister, that sister that I've talked about a lot, she reached out to me on Trans Day Visibility and we were just talking and stuff. And she suggested that I make a video that was about what is transgender and what it isn't. Because even she, back in the day, she wasn't quite sure what it was. So she was like, you should make a video on it. So here we are. Also for this video, just because I like doing my makeup and talking at the same time, because makeup is very therapeutic, I'm going to be doing another get ready with me. And during my get ready with me's, I do not mention any of the products that I'm using, how I'm using them. I just do my makeup. On Thursdays, if you tune in on Thursdays, I do makeup looks. I do. And I mention the products that I'm using. I'm mentioning how I'm using them. And that way, so you can know how to get a look like this. So right before we get into this, I want to say, Mama, happy birthday. Mwah. I love you. Whoa. I just want to give a big shout out to my mom. It is her birthday today. I just want to say, Mom, I love you and thank you for everything that you do. You've been a huge inspiration to me and one of my biggest supporters, and I just want to say I love you and that I'm grateful for everything that you do. Now for the topic that y'all came for. What is and what is not transgender? Well, let me tell ya. Well, before we get into that, it is important that we make a distinction between gender and sexuality. I think oftentimes non-queer people, when they hear things thrown around in the queer community, that they get confused about what is what. For example, in the acronym LGBT, there's more to it, like LGBTQIA+, but just focusing on the first part, you have L, which is for lesbian, G, which is for gay, B, which is for bi, and then T, which is moi, transgender. And the L, the G, and the B all have to do with sexuality, your attractions. I need a mirror. I was trying to go off the camera, but that was not working out. The definition of a lesbian is a woman who is attracted to other women. Gay, which is often used more by men, and that's how society kind of labels gay men specifically. Gay women, people usually just say lesbian. But with the men specifically, there's not really like a word for a gay man. Like there's a gay woman, like gay woman is lesbian, gay man is a gay man. There's not really like another term for that like there is for gay women. But yeah, so gay literally just means an attraction to the same sex. If we're looking at the binaries, and binaries, like the word, well, the suffix bi, suffix, prefix? Prefix. My mom's a kindergarten teacher. She'd be like, you should know this. Bi literally means two. So if you think about the Bible, you got two books. You got the New Testament and the Old Testament. Bi means two. So if you think about like the binaries, we got man and we got woman. So gay has to do more with between the binaries. So if you are a man and you are gay within the binaries, you are attracted to men. If you're a woman and you are gay within the binaries, you are attracted to other women. Which leads us into bisexual, which is literally someone who is attracted to both of the genders that are within the binary. So that is as far as sexuality is concerned. That is a very, in a nutshell, version of sexuality. There is a lot more to sexuality. It is a lot more complicated than just LGB. For example, there is pansexuality, asexuality, and others. However, to make this conversation flow and make sense to the general public, I defined LGB to make a quick distinction between sexuality and gender. Gender is a different story. Gender identity has it's more personal than it is social in a way. Like your sexual attractions, like that's what you're attracted to. I don't know, it's weird. As different as subjects as they are, they coincide a lot. But gender is your gender identity. So within Western world stuff, so Western ideology only supports the binaries, so the genders would be man and woman. In other cultures embrace other genders that are not man and woman, which it's hard for other people that grew up in the binaries to wrap their heads around that there could be more than just two genders. But in other cultures, they do believe in that kind of stuff and they accept it and embrace it, which is where you would get like non-binary people, two-spirited people. And these are all, I'm sorry, I'm kind of throwing out terms left and right, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what I mean by sexuality versus what I mean by gender. So with having defined sexuality, which is your attractions, versus gender, which is identity, how you express your gender. What is transgender and what is it not? Now, I've noticed with people around me, a lot of people they have a hard time distinguishing between a very flamboyant gay man versus a trans woman, or a very masculine lesbian versus a trans man. Now, a flamboyant gay man is a man, and by gay we mean that he is attracted to other men. Now, a trans woman is someone who was born physically male at birth, however, her gender identity does not coincide with the sex she was given at birth, me. Now, what is the difference? Well, you can be transgender and still be straight. So for example, I was born physically male at birth, but growing up I never felt like a boy, therefore trans woman. However, I am attracted to man. If you just take the word trans woman, take away trans, you get woman. A woman who is attracted to men, it's a straight woman. Now, what if this trans woman was attracted to other women? Then she would be considered a trans woman who is a lesbian or a gay trans woman. So someone who is born female and their gender identity coincides with the sex they were given at birth, and they are also attracted to other women, they are a gay woman. Now, someone who is born female at birth physically, but their gender identity does not coincide with the sex that they were given at birth, they are a trans man. And if they are also attracted to women, they are a straight trans man. Take away the word trans, you get man. A man that's attracted to a woman is a straight man. So that is the difference between gays, lesbians, and trans people. So remember again, gender identity has very little to do with your sexuality. They are two different things, although they do coincide together. Like sexuality is very gender emphasized, like I'm attracted to this gender. Gender identity has very little to do with sexuality. This is how I am, this is how I feel, this is my identity. So what is the difference between a transgender and a transvestite? Well, let me tell you. So transgender, as we went over earlier, is gender identity. Got that? Okay. If you go to Merriam-Webster, because people sometimes don't like word of mouth. So what Merriam-Webster says is that transvestite is a person who wears clothes designed for the opposite sex, aka a cross-dresser. You look at someone who was born male at birth, identifies as a male, whether they be straight or gay or bi, whatever their sexuality may be. And sometimes they like to dress in women's clothing and like to express themselves in that way. Or a woman who was born a woman at birth. If she were to dress up like a man, for example, like Mulan, which is kind of a bad example, but it's the best example that I can think of from like big media that y'all would be familiar with. That is the idea of transvestites. Someone whose identity is singularly that identity, but they cross-dress as the opposite gender. That is not transgender. Transgender, like At the end of the day, I can take off my weave and my makeup and I'm still me. I'm still transgender. I can't change who I am. Transvestite is more of like you can take it off at the end of the day. A drag queen is not transgender. Drag queens are artists. They are performers. They are entertainers. Like, if you're familiar with RuPaul's Drag Race, in most situations, most drag queens are gay men who perform in drag. So that is the difference between drag, transvestite, transgender. So some questions you may have. Is it okay to refer to someone who is transgender as a transvestite? No. To call a trans person a transvestite is to completely disinvalidate their gender. One of my previous videos that I posted on Trans Day Visibility of 2020, I talk about misgendering. To call a transgender person a transvestite is to completely misgender them, because remember, a transvestite is a man who cross-dresses as a woman or a woman who cross-dresses as a man. Transgender is your gender identity. So to look at me and call me a drag queen or a transvestite would completely disinvalidate my gender. And honestly, I am not finished with my makeup look yet, but I feel like I covered everything, so I'm going to go off camera and finish, and then I'll kind of wrap things up. This is the finished look. It kind of looks a little crazy, but I'm living for it. I did pink with some white and some blue, which are the colors for the trans flag. And then I just try to do a nude lip, and then I got caught up with browns, and then that happened. So, and then did a little winged eyeliner action. So kind of living for it, not gonna lie. So I hoped, wow. I hoped you learned a thing or two from this video about what transgender is and what it's not. I do have a previous video where I talked about misgendering, specifically trans people, trans man, trans woman, trans non-binary, all the other trans identities that there are. I would highly recommend that you check it out. I will put the link up in the little eye. If you are trans and you are looking for resources, I do have a good video where I talk about resources specifically here in Utah. I do cover a couple that are nationwide. If you are here in the United States, I'll link that up in the eye. If you are transgender and you're looking for a place that you can go to learn more on how to transition, where to start, what to do, because it can be overwhelming. I will periodically give you updates so that if you are trans and you are looking to see like what are the effects of hormones, where can I get my surgeries, all that stuff, please keep returning to this channel and I will do my best to keep you updated on what I am doing specifically, and hopefully it serves as a good reference for you. So yeah. If you like this video, give it a good thumbs up. Leave a comment down below about anything that you liked, or if you have any further questions, if you are curious and you want to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe this way so that you are updated on more content, nude content. That way so you never miss out. And yeah, I'll see you all the next time. Goodbye.